Have you ever had a secret dream? You know, the kind of dream that is so outrageous, you're pretty sure it's never going to happen. You keep it a secret because if you tell anyone, well, they might laugh at you. Or your mom will ask, can you make a living at that? As a child growing up, I had a secret dream to compete in the Olympics. But not just compete, I wanted to win a medal. Okay, I wanted the gold. It was an ambitious dream for anyone, but nearly impossible for a person who had been born missing a leg, like me. I learned to walk when I was only 2 years old on my first prosthetic leg, and from then on, I set out to prove to the world that I could do everything all the other kids could do. But of course, I couldn't. I tried so many different sports, but the only thing I got really good at was coming in last. I tried out for cheerleading, only to have one of the judges tell me afterwards, "You cannot do the moves like the other girls," as if I didn't already know. I tried running. I must have looked so pathetic because cars often pulled over and asked if I needed a ride. I tried ice skating. What a disaster that was. I fell and broke my good leg and ended up in a wheelchair for 6 weeks. In spite of my failures, I wasn't willing to give up on my dream. And that turned out to be a good thing because one morning I received a phone call from a woman named Jan Morrissey asking if I wanted to learn how to ski. Yes, sign me up. I'd seen one-legged skiers on TV and I knew that was something I could be good at. We'd been trying to find someone that could teach me. Jan was not only a ski instructor, she also had one leg. It was a double win and the answer to my prayers. We headed up to the mountain for that first lesson. All I wanted to do was ski down the hill. All Jan wanted to do was teach me how to fall, something I was already an expert at. But as it turned out, what I really needed to learn was how to get back up after a fall. And that was the hardest part. Instead of ski poles, I used these things called outriggers, which were like forearm crutches with sawed-off ski tips mounted on the ends. Those outriggers gave me balance when I was skiing. But when I fell, they acted like skewers pinning me to the ground. Thankfully, Jan was an excellent teacher, and it wasn't long before I could also ski down the slope. She invited me to compete in my first race. I didn't think I was ready, but with everything I'd already tried, I thought, what have I got to lose? Would you believe I didn't come in last? I won 2 tiny little medals, and I knew then ski racing was the sport for me. I packed up my car and moved to the mountains of Colorado so that I could ski full-time and train with some of the best adaptive skiers in the world. I worked my way up through the ranks, and eventually the head coach of the U.S. disabled ski team took notice and invited me to compete in the World Championships. The only reason he was taking me along was so that I could get experience, with the disclaimer, don't expect to win any medals. Well, never being one to walk away from a challenge or an opportunity. I got experience all right. I experienced winning 2 silver medals in the Worlds and securing my spot in the 1992 Paralympics headed for Albertville, France. My secret was not a secret anymore. And then I fell in the first race of the Paralympics. I sat on the sidelines out of the competition for the day, wallowing in self-pity, wondering what made me think I could do it. Somehow the memory of that first ski lesson came flooding back. What I had to learn was how to get back up after a fall. Thankfully, Jan was an excellent teacher. I picked myself up out of the snow to get ready for the next race. On the second race of the Paralympics, in the starting gate on that morning, there was no room for doubt. I knew what I had to do. 10 years of hope and hard work had prepared me for that moment. I burst out of the start, charging from gate to gate, hanging on the edge of control, turn after turn, faster and faster. I dropped into my tuck as I crossed the finish line, looked up at the scoreboard and saw my name jump to the top. And on that day, I won my gold medal. So let me ask you again, have you ever had a secret dream you thought was impossible? As it turns out, having the dream is not enough to make it happen. You must also learn how to get back up after a fall.